listening. Empathy has to do with listening into drawing out the thought of another person. Proverbs 25 says, I think I have that here.
I don't have it memorized.
I lost it. Oh, no, wait, it's right here. Oh, man, I don't know. I have it on my Spanish notes. Something like this. The purposes of a man are like deep waters, and it is a man of understanding who draws them out. Our goal is to figure out how to understand what our kids are going through and help them understand what they're going through.
Yeah, draw that out for sure. I think it's deeper than we think, and you're going to find as your kids grow older that it takes even more time, and it's going to look different than it does when they're little. I think we're always learning in this area.
Yeah, there's a quote from an amazing book called Tips on Child Training Tips. This is from the 1800s, and it's got an amazing paragraph that is going to be in Spanish. I'm going to translate it, so if I'm struggling, that's why. Inspire your children. Don't push them. Make it attractive for them to turn to you, to someone stronger and bigger than them in times of need, temptation, and failure. Don't tell them how wrong they are, how strange it is that they struggle with such a thing. That will only isolate them and will make them build a wall to protect themselves from your undesirable friendship. Oof, that is just so heavy. And how many times I've made that mistake of being too quick to react when they're struggling with something, even though I know that it has no reason for them to be afraid or frustrated or angry with a certain thing. I remember one time when Cesar Jr., he was a little kid. He was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and we told him to take the trash to the curb, and all of a sudden I heard him crying. Like he fell, sounded like he fell with the trash can. And he turned around and he was bleeding. His whole face was full of blood. And he was so scared. So I ran to him and I had a Kleenex and I wiped it, and I thought he had cut himself right here. And that was not the moment to get mad. And I've made that mistake many times. But that moment, I knew that he needed a friend. So what I did, took him to the bathroom, cleaned it up, washed him, and then put pressure on his forehead and took him to the emergency room and calmed him down and told him, don't worry, the head bleeds a lot. I remember that from my dad being a doctor in Mexico telling me that. And we just talked him through it. And at the end, the most important memory was not just that accident that he went through, but the fact that he had a friend going through it with him. So many times the consequence, it's enough.
Yeah, that happens a lot when they're little. I remember Marco was little and we had told him not to climb up onto the top of the Suburban, and because we didn't want him to get cut by scrape his leg on the license plate. And sure enough,
because he was sliding down.
Yeah, he was sliding down. So sure enough, he did it again, and he slid down and he sliced his leg on the license plate. And like you said, it's not the time to see, I told you so. That's why you need to listen to me. That's the time life already gave him the consequence, and you just need to comfort and help them get through it.
Yeah, the natural consequence was enough. So to build a friendship through that struggle, just walk through it with them. Respect their fears. I have some notes here from when we did this as a conference. A fear is a perception of danger. Don't ridicule their fear. Otherwise, you will train your child to avoid conflict, to avoid being ridiculed. And sometimes fear, it's unfounded, and sometimes it has a reason. Like if they're afraid of lightning, you're inside the house, explain to them, show them the lightning, Google it and show them the effects of it so that they would understand it. And sometimes it's real, right? When we live in Texas and there are tornadoes here sometimes, it's a real thing. Go and get in the closet and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, to show that you're afraid if you believe in God, to pray to God together so they can see you walking through that with them.
It makes you relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thinking of other examples, I just know that I'm so guilty of sometimes taking opportunities when life has given a consequence to give a sermon, and it doesn't work. you know, and I just,
Lectures.
yeah, like, you know, our son that's older, you know, maybe it's that he took a test or did something and he didn't get the grade he wants. And I think that I want to tell him, well, did you study enough? I mean, you were going out with your friends. Did you really put time into it? But that's not what he needs to hear right then. He already got the consequence with the grade. He needs to I just need to listen and empathize. Man, that's really tough, you know? And then, you know, maybe that would open up the conversation of how can I help you? What can we do before the next test?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So better to say less
So,
when they're older.
If you want to change that perspective, if your kid has said or has felt that you don't love them, that you don't care about them, that's a reason why. Learn to empathize. And if you want to learn how to become a leader without breaking the friendship with your child, and you know people that may benefit from this material, share the content with them. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us. We're going to start a coaching program. We just started having the first 2 people that we're helping. We're looking for 2 more moms or dads who want to receive some personalized coaching so that you can learn how to become your child's leader or your teenager's leader without breaking your friendship, and how to be their friend without them losing respect for you. Is that balance where you can find the key of great parenting through many mistakes that we've made over the years. So
we're Cesar and Pam with cesarandpam.com. Let us know your thoughts, your questions, and we'll be back next week.